My life is about to change forever. I'm standing on the precipice of an entirely new era because in only a few days' time, I'm going to be a father. When I found out that my wife, Olivia, was pregnant, I began a process of metamorphosis that I'm only beginning to comprehend. It seems to me that only now, at the age of 35, have I become a man. This is the story of my shift into fatherhood. It's the story of realizing my purpose in life and understanding who I need to be for myself and my family. It's the story of building a life on a foundation of love, investing into an eternal legacy. My purpose in creating this video is to share how Olivia and I both have grown throughout her pregnancy as we step into our roles as parents. I've learned that everything I imagined about the experience of having a child was not a representation of reality. I hope that this video will help any young parents out there realize that having a child is one of the most transcendent experiences you can have in this life. And although it presents lots of new challenges, parenthood is a call to a higher purpose, creating a fuller life with your family than you would create for just yourself. Can you believe we're having a baby?
At this point, yes, since we're 40 weeks.
It's 40 weeks today.
Yeah.
That's wild. I still can't believe it. I mean, I know we've been through this whole thing and I've been imagining what it could be like, but I still can't comprehend it.
It's pretty wild.
What are you doing?
Ruby, this is our first baby. Ruby, come. Come.
Let's get your butt up on here. Okay, down. Get down.
Down.
Get down.
Lay down.
Okay, that's a good dog.
Lay down.
See? See, that's not so bad. Ruby really has taught us a lot about parenthood. I kind of feel like she showed up in our lives at a specific point to warm us up to the idea of having a child, because she's been a lot of work, but I really love her a lot.
Yeah, I feel very much that way, that Ruby was my prerequisite to a human baby. Yeah, I think when I think of my perception of parenthood before I got pregnant, it was a lot of negativity. I think there's a lot of negativity around being a parent within our generation. Lots of ideas of losing our freedom, sacrifice, challenges, difficulty, screaming children. Just the stories that I've heard, at least, are not super exciting. They're not very inspiring. And Ruby has really showed me how much of a joy it is to have someone, even though they require your attention and your work and your sacrifice and your energy, and you don't always get to do exactly what you want to do all the time. It's so worthwhile. Yeah, so I've really worked to acknowledge that experience and to change that story in my mind that I feel I've held on for a long time, which is that parenthood is gonna suck. Because I don't think it is. I know it's not.
One of the biggest lessons I learned from my marriage and corresponding pregnancy is that I have a responsibility to those I love. For a lot of my life, I avoided any type of responsibility. I thought that responsibility was a burden, that it meant I would have less time to do the things that I love. I thought having a family meant giving up my autonomy. I've learned that couldn't be further from the truth. My family needs me to continue working towards becoming a better version of myself. They need me to be happy and fulfilled. My child needs to see that it's possible to achieve their goals and that they can find purpose in their life. They will be learning from me throughout their entire lives, and I want nothing more than to be an incredible role model for them. Everything I do for myself, I'm doing for my family. I want to be the best person I can be, not just for me, but for my children. I think that that was a huge realization I had over the course of your pregnancy, recognizing that having a child, yeah, sure, it may mean taking responsibility and not always doing the things that I want to do, but at the same time, I'm going to work hard to be the best version of myself for them, because I want to inspire them to live the best life that they can live. It's totally flipped my perception of what having a child would be like. I feel really grateful for that, honestly. How about you?
Yeah, I think that it can be really easy to focus on what I could be losing, and it has required some intentionality to focus on all there is to gain. And I think it's a lot of what people share with me, like, again, before I got pregnant and even during pregnancy, and I just think it comes from a lot of lack of awareness but it's so much like, oh, you're gonna not be able to sleep, and you're going to not be able to do this, and this is gonna be really hard. And I think people mean really well, and they're just sharing their experiences, and a lot of times people just want to be seen and heard for what they've gone through. But what people might not realize is the constant bombardment of all the negative aspects of things instead of all of the amazing reasons that they love being a parent, and all the reasons why I would love to hear why I could be excited to become a parent. I choose to be conscious in that way for my own life, and when I go to share with other new mothers, that there's so much to look forward to and everything there is to gain, rather than this constant stream of sorrows. At least that's been my experience.
Come on, Ruby. Get up here. Come on.
Throughout Olivia's pregnancy, it's been a wild realization that there's this brand new person coming into existence, seemingly out of nowhere, with a karmic journey to live and a purpose to fulfill. We've channeled a human being into this world that will have dreams and aspirations. They will have insecurities and fears. This brand new person will live an entire life, and they'll be here after I'm gone. It's nearly impossible to comprehend. Olivia and I will have such a powerful influence on their trajectory, and it's made me wonder, what do I need for myself so that I can be the father I want to be for them?
I've noticed that just the idea of having a child has changed me in a lot of ways. And number one, I can't really comprehend it. I've never had a child. I don't know what that's going to be like. I don't know what it's going to be like to meet a brand new person that's a piece of you and a piece of me. But I had this experience early on in your pregnancy where I was just thinking about my legacy. Like, what am I going to share with our children? I was thinking about that a lot because a lot of my life I feel like I've been lacking in purpose, and it almost felt like when we were having a child, it's like, okay, I need to figure this out now. I really want to share something beautiful with them. Immediately I'm just thinking about the things that matter to me the most. And one of the things I've always loved to do, and you know this because I've shared it with you throughout our relationship, but I love to hike. I love nature. I'm totally fascinated by how nature functions. Around the same time that I found out about your pregnancy, I found this one book in particular that really fascinated me. I've told you about it before. It's Mother of God by Paul Rosalie, and he just talks about his experience falling in love with the Amazon and the work he's doing to protect and preserve the jungle. I was having an experience that probably no other people would have. Not only was I completely interested in the story, I started to have an emotional experience. Like, this is the exact thing that I need to share with my children. And I was realizing that the reason I've been learning to create video all this time was to shed light on conservation. There's this quote by Henry David Thoreau: "I want to know an entire heaven and an entire earth." We don't even have an experience of seeing nature in its fullness. I want to be a part of bringing that back in some fashion. I want to inspire people, and I want to inspire my own children to want to care for the land, to want to build a connection to the land, and to want to preserve it. I think if we didn't have a child, I wouldn't have come to that conclusion as quick as I did. It felt like I needed to build something to share with them. I haven't known what it was for myself all along, but something about having a child, it was like, I need to do this now. Having a child made me realize that it's not just about me. What I give to them is equal to what I'm here to do on earth, teaching this future generation, giving them the gifts that we want to give them to help them throughout their life. I wonder what it was for you, because you've had the experience of actually carrying the child, and I wonder how your pregnancy has been.
Yeah, it's been a lot of identity work, I think, for me. A lot of who am I? Who have I been? Who am I becoming through this process felt a lot more mental and emotional for me than it has been physical, although everything is interconnected for sure. I think I've really had to wrestle with that, and to be honest, I still continue to wrestle with that, this sense of just how I perceive myself. I think there's so much I could say about that, and I know this is a short video, but I think that there's a lot of that women go through. We don't necessarily have these conversations or the resources around what it means to go from maiden to mother, and I think it's a lot of why we experience pregnancy as we do, a lot of the challenges, because there is a lot of identity shedding and identity becoming through that process that just can be challenging. I just didn't feel like I had the tools prior to being in the experience to process all of it.
Not so long ago, I was a child myself, and now I'm having a child of my own. I can't help but to imagine life as a relay race. My grandparents passed the torch to my parents, instilling them with their values and their love. My parents built their own life based off those same values and passed the torch to me. And now it's my turn to pass the torch to my own children. Having this child really puts life into perspective, and I really want to make the most of everything my family has given me, because one day my children will pass the torch on to the next generation. What will they gain from all the people that preceded them?
To me, it just made me realize how quick life is. We have this experience and it seems so big, but then when you look back on the years past, it's so quick, and we're only here for a short time, and it's easy just to get wrapped up in the day-to-day and to not notice that this time is passing us by. Your pregnancy has helped me realize just how valuable every moment is. Yeah, I remember you telling me some stuff about how time has just messed with your head lately.
Yeah, time has definitely been a topic or theme that's come up for me over and over and over again. How quickly it moves, how slow it moves, how it's undefeated. No one gets out of this experience alive. There's a quote hanging in my office, I've told you before, that says, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with this one wild and precious life?" And I think about that all the time, because we do just have this one wild and precious life, and it does move so swiftly. There's no tomorrow, right? There's no guarantee, which is a cliche we've all heard 100 million times perhaps, but I wonder how much we really sit and reflect on that, because I know there's so many things that so many of us want to do, places we want to see, things we want to accomplish, people we want to tell that we love, times we want to spend doing things with the people we love. There's just so much. There's only now to do it. And so I'm a big planner, I'm a big goal setter, I'm a big make things happen person, and I think that pregnancy has just exasperated that. It's just made it more I'm constantly, what are we going to do this summer? What are we doing this fall? What are we doing this weekend? What are our goals for 5 years from now? What are our goals for 10 years from now? Because it's going to be here, and that time is going to pass. And have we done the things that we wanted to do?
Yeah, not only that, but have we done the things we've wanted to do with our children? Because for them, their childhood is going to be an extremely consequential point in their lives. I don't know, speaking of time, when you're a child, it feels like an hour is an eternity. But that totally changes when you get older. For them, we want to build the best childhood possible for them. And it's no easy task. There's a lot of things that we have to do just to take care of day-to-day stuff. We have our work to do. We're going to have to teach them and spend quality time with them. And how are we going to get the most out of that? How are we going to give them the best possible childhood we can? And I think number one, that's just being really intentional about how we're spending our time with them and how we're spending our time together.
Becoming a parent has me reflecting on my own childhood. I remember just how much my parents loved me, and I can see now that they were just people, working hard to give me the best life possible. It makes me wonder, what kind of parent do I want to be? I know I'll make some mistakes along the way, but just like my own parents, I want to give them the best chance to live a life overflowing with joy, purpose, and fulfillment. How will I guide them towards the understanding of who they are, and help them become everything they're meant to be?
What do you want to share with our children?
It's a funny question because a lot of times when people ask me that, my mind almost initially goes to more so not wanting to get in their way or interrupt. I say they, knowing that there's probably going to be more than one eventually. Just not wanting to get in the way of them being who they are through my own personal development, my own internal work. I have come to realize that we're all perfect, and this baby that we're about to have has come here with a purpose, with a personality, with a sense of who they are, and I just don't want to, I choose not to impose myself on them, on him or her, in a way that would interrupt who they already are and who they're destined to be. And so there's obvious things I want to share. I want to empower them. I want to instill a sense of confidence. I want to teach them how to prepare healthy food and to grow healthy food and to perhaps be an entrepreneur, be self-sufficient, know how to heal their bodies, just lots of practical things, I suppose. But at the end of the day, I just want to know them and to not create boundaries for them in them realizing and doing the things that they came here to do.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I definitely don't want to stand in their way either, because I'm sure they're going to surprise us with who they are. It might be hard for us to comprehend them at times. Yet still, I want to share my love of nature with them. I feel like that could play out in very different ways for them. You know, number one, I want them to understand nature. I want to use hikes, and my backyard rewilding project is school, you know, so they can have an understanding of nature that I dreamed of as a child. But you know, my dad was, you know, he was working and he didn't have the time to do that kind of stuff. But legitimately, one of my favorite things to do as a kid was hike. I was just like, I just really love to explore in nature. And I want to share that with them. I want to take them on backpacking trips. I want to take them to some of the most beautiful places in the world. And I want to show them that when you're in good health and when you're strong, you can see things that not many people get a chance to see, you know?
Yeah, I read something the other day that said parents don't actually want what's best for their kids. They want what's best for themselves. I sat with that for a while, and maybe that sounds kind of harsh, but I wonder how true that is, right? Parents want what will make them feel like good parents, or parents want what will keep them safe, or parents want what will not interrupt the status quo. Parents want to maintain some sort of image or belief system. I don't feel to criticize parents for their stuff. I'm sure we'll have our own stuff too, but what does it look like to be a parent that genuinely wants what's best for their child without us imposing all of our beliefs, our expectations, what makes us feel safe or secure or like we've done a good job? And I imagine that will be challenging to us, right? Because we have our own set of values and beliefs and perspectives, but are those things always going to be in line with who our child is? And so I really choose to know my child and to do and support them in the ways of them being and knowing what's best for them, not what's best for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's like a fine line to walk. I guess I just have this feeling that nature is just like inherently who we are. I feel like connecting to nature is the best way to connect to yourself. Ultimately, I just want to inspire them with the things that I'm doing with my life so that they can see me achieving my goals and know that anything is possible for them. Along those lines, I also believe that connecting with nature and understanding nature helps you find that self-awareness. Not only that, but I feel like it can help you be in the best shape. I love running, I love hiking, and me just sharing what I love with them will hopefully inspire them to connect with what they love. I just don't want to get lost in that and want to impose my beliefs on them, because ultimately they're going to have to figure that stuff out for themselves. But along the way, just sharing my love and passion for things will help them fall in love with something and find a passion for something. I'm just interested to know who they are. We won't even really truly know who they are for quite some time.
I think we'll get glimpses along the way. Yeah, I feel really excited to get to know them too, and really curious about who this person or eventually persons are who have chosen us to be their parents. That's so crazy to me. I mean, at least it's my belief that everything is divine and intentional, and it's no accident that this particular person has chosen to be ours, at least for a time. I feel really honored and really curious to get to know them, and it feels really wild to think that within a matter of hours or days, we're going to meet one of the most significant people of our entire lives. That's so crazy to me. One of my best friends, or one of the most important people I'll ever know, is right around the corner. It's just such a mind-boggling experience. All of it is just so crazy.
As I've been reflecting on who I was before I found out about Olivia's pregnancy, I've come to some beautiful realizations. Before I ever thought of having children, I didn't think too far into the future. I was mostly focused on my immediate needs and desires. I wanted to have the least amount of responsibility possible so I could focus exclusively on finding joy. Unfortunately, this mindset led to a lack of fulfillment. It seemed that the joy I was chasing lacked substance. Joy was this fleeting experience I seemed destined to chase day after day, and as soon as I found it, it was gone. Yet now, standing on the precipice of fatherhood, I find that the love I have for my family isn't going anywhere. In a lot of ways, it's the only thing that's real. This love I feel for them is a natural abundance of joy. The work that it takes to build this family is an investment that will continue to pay dividends far into the future. It's not this fragile pursuit of joy that just leads me to chase after more joy. My love for them inspires me to create a better life for myself, which in turn creates a better life for my family. I'm surprised to find that my assumptions of what parenthood would be like were totally wrong. There's no greater pursuit in life than to be the cornerstone and the foundation of my family.